I say, hey, what's going down? You on the recovery pod, boo?
Yo.
What up?
What's going down?
Hello.
So Wes, you got a topic for me, man. What it is?
Hey, what's up, guys? I've been thinking about something. I got somebody that I really respect in the recovery world. Loves to say that relationships with people, places, and things are great as long as there's no expectation. And I started thinking about it after he said it the other day again for the 1,000th time. And I started thinking about how expectations play into my character defects and how my defects, specifically one of manipulation tendencies, how that actually is fed by expectation. And so I wanted to throw that out there, something to get some experience from you guys on, because, one day at a time, doing the best that I can to identify my defects, as well as, ask for them to be removed, and also to keep an eye on it and understand how they manifest in my everyday life. And, I've just found, if I'm thinking ahead of the game, and I've got some kind of expectation associated with a relationship with an individual, or let's say something that I'm engaging myself in, some kind of effort, like if I work here, I expect blank to happen, my question is, do you guys experience the same complication and difficulties with expectations? And, what do you do about it? I guess would be my question.
Hell yeah. Dude, expectations are the first step towards resentment, man. If I go into any situation with an expectation, that's a very narrow target to hit. You know what I mean? Like, whether it's a job, mainly a relationship, but dude, it's one thing to talk about expectation. So breaking it down, I'm already all over the place. Yo, you got me thinking. So relationship, expectation or standard, you know what I mean? Hey, this is what I will and won't allow. We're going to agree we don't sleep with other people. We're going to, treat each other with some level of respect. That is an expectation, but it's also a standard. So but an expectation is what I'm thinking you're saying is more along the lines of I think it's going to be like this, and they're going to be this image I've built up in my head of who they are. And they're going to, oh, we're going on this date. It's going to go like this, and then anything that either falls short or different from your expectation is almost a disappointment. So, right. Man, I broke this down a long time ago with birthdays. So any type of day, anniversary day, fucking Valentine's Day, you wake up, let's say you're just in a normal ass mood. I see it with my son a lot, where you expect to feel good on your birthday. You expect people to treat you nice and things to go your way. And if you wake up and you're not in a great mood, if you're just in a regular mood and it's a regular day, it sucks. You know what I mean? Because it's supposed to be a good day. Oh, this is Valentine's Day. I'm supposed to be putting it down right now. Why am I not? You know what I mean? Dude, expectations, man, that just sets a bar up, and it's not present. You know what I mean? You're not assessing the situation as you go
in the present.
You're predicting, you're fantasizing and imagining, basically. And so I think it's important to break down the difference between a standard, which is something like, hey, this is how I expect you to act, treat, feel, and an expectation of the way you think something's going to go. if that makes sense.
Maybe standards are more based in, in morals, right? And then expectations are see, my brain can twist shit up and basically mutate my morals into some crazy shit. So so it seems to me like, when I start future tripping, which is a great way to put it, on how I expect things to play out. It's a great point, Stephen. I'm no longer in the now. I'm no longer present. I'm no longer, practicing awareness methodologies that keep me in a good state of mind, and I get stuck back in my own will at that point. I'm no longer turning shit over. I'm now pushing my own will again, and when that happens, I lose. It's almost like water skiing, hanging onto the rope, and all of a sudden it starts shaking real hard, and then all of a sudden I bust my ass, big wave comes, and I lose my footing. It happens that fast. Once I get distracted off my higher power's will, I start pushing my own for any reason. Shit gets ugly pretty quick, for sure. What do you think, Eric?
I agree with both of you. I'm big on like letting go of expectations. My opinion on it is expectations are a guaranteed way to set you up for failure. If you expect something and it does go your way, it's like it's a miracle that it happens that way, because to expect something, especially just with anything on the outside, like nothing ever goes your way. And the reason I came to that conclusion was I didn't realize this, but I set expectations for everything in my life. Like it ruled my anxiety, like socially, my expectations. Like I had such high expectations for how I would behave socially that I psyched myself out and became like so anxious and quiet because I knew I couldn't meet those expectations. And then the other thing that really hit it for me was the marriage I had with my ex-wife. Like I set expectations, and I used to call them goals, but really they were expectations for another person. Like I expected that she was going to get sober. We were both going to get sober, and it was going to be this great thing. And we were going to be two recovering addicts that beat the odds. And like I set those expectations when I was still using and when she was still using. And so it's like I set myself up for failure from day one with that, because I could control what I did with my addiction. Like I could seek recovery, but no matter what I did, it was never going to motivate her to seek recovery without her actually wanting recovery. And I didn't realize that until like, I don't know, it was recently that I realized that. It had to have been a few months ago where I just really realized like those types of expectations are literally just setting yourself up for failure and letdown. And as far as what I do about it, I still have expectations. I'll catch myself expecting things, but I just have to remind myself that like really all I can do is my best, and anything that happens is going to happen the way it's supposed to. Like I can fight against things happening, but it's gonna happen. And I just kind of, I don't know, I let go. It's almost like I'm lazy now, where if something's happening a way I don't want it to, and there's nothing I can do about it, I just kind of like, I don't know, I just lay down and let it happen. And I feel like that's the best way to go about it, because anytime I try to fight against something, it just fucks everything up, and it's so hard. So yeah, I really try to do this every day. I'll catch myself with little expectations, and I have to let go, in a sense where I lay the sword down and I'm like, this is how it's gonna go. This is how it has to go. And that's helped me a great deal. Um, yeah, so
That was
yeah,
awesome.
that's what I got on that.
So, yo, what's going on when you have an expectation, right? You're fantasizing, you're getting ahead of yourself, you're setting an image for yourself, the person, the event, and then you're trying to control. You're trying to manipulate to meet your expectation. Now, I feel like a lot of us do this subconsciously and without knowing, like unconsciously. It's not a bad thing to have some expectations. It's just like with anything. Be aware that it is an expectation and understand what an expectation is. You know what I mean? Like if I get into a relationship, I expect certain things. I expect you not to cheat on me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of, we'll just stick with that. Now, if I start seeing signs, I also am, you know, with recovery has given me awareness and acceptance. So I don't get lost in my expectation and stay in that fantasy thinking it needs to be that to be good, worthy. I don't get lost in it thinking like I'm on a never-ending quest to create this. And I also, you know, if I start seeing the signs, can accept this is reality, this is something to consider, rather than letting denial and then further control and manipulation try to make me change the universe's fucking will or alter my reality to fit my expectation. But I think just being aware of it, because back in the day it was like, this is what I expect, right? With no awareness of, bro, you fantasizing right now. This is not real. Like it's, oh, I'm gonna make it this way though. You know what I mean? Nah, good topic, man. Cause like these days, dude, just for today, like I'm about to start this job. This boss was really cool when he hired me. Everybody there seems cool. You get in there and it's a shit show. Like, yeah, you know, your expectation was one thing and maybe it had some evidence to back it, but then your reality changed and the blow was harder. Like, you know, if I go start a job that I think sucks ass and it's not so bad, boom, my expectation was reversed. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this wasn't so bad.
Acceptance is such a big deal. Acceptance and the ability to turn it over to a higher power in that, you know, in acceptance. It's such a big deal. God.
And to just keep it real, like be honest with yourself. What is going on here? You know what I mean? Like I talk about to people all the time in a relationship, like, okay, this is what's happening. And, you know, as long as you're being honest with yourself about what's really going on, you're good. You may not like it. It may suck. It may hurt, but you don't lose your serenity. You know what I'm saying? Like when people think about relapsing, that's cool. What's the reality here? You know, oh, you expecting to go back and use successfully? You think you're gonna pick it up and put it down? All right, like, is that real? Just be honest with yourself. And we like to fool ourselves. You know what I mean? Thinking that things are gonna go the way we imagine them. I'll tell you right now, I'm a very overthinking person who has imagined many scenarios in many different things, many different ways. Nothing has ever gone the way I thought it was going to go exactly, you know. So, yeah, just years of trial and error for me on my little mind fuckery to just really be like, hey, just for today, this is the normal, you know.
Definitely. Staying it, and man, the more that I'm thinking about this as we're discussing it, the more the more that I can see how expectations develop when I am not actively being aware and being in the present, staying in the moment, staying in it, in the hour, in the minute, you know, because I don't know. If I stay put right where I am and engage in life as it is occurring, it's very difficult to trip into the future for me and you know, start the thought flow of what could be or what I want to be, what I want something to be, all that kind of stuff. If I stay here, one, I can hear my higher power. Two, I have the ability to turn things over to him. If I go into the future, right, I start foxhole prayers and things, shit like that, where please bring this to me, or please make this happen, or please, do this for me. Not, let me hear your will. Take my will in my life. Guide me in my recovery. Show me how to live. Third step prayer. Boom. I say that shit 20 times a day right now. And it's I'm so grateful for the understanding of how that really does impact the moment. It is awesome to be able to step out of the head, step out of the thought flow, and turn it over. Just continuously turn things over. Where, in the past it was a major thing for me to always push my own will and chase and go after what I want, and all those, and those, that's all, every bit of that was founded in expectations, most of the time unrealistic, most of the time fantasy, just like you said, Steve. I mean, literally, like, it's 9 times out of 10, again, thoughts in my head, because I am an addict, because I suffer from the disease of addiction. 9 times out of 10, the first impulsive thing that comes into my head is disease driven. It is not the right decision. And with that being said, man, like, having that thought awareness at this point keeps me in the present. And God, it's so hard to lose it, though. It goes so fast. It'll jump out. It slips out of my hands. It just super quick sometimes. But the good news is I'm now able to grab it back before it runs away. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no longer out and then piecing out. At least now I can grab it, pull it shit back, and get back to and turn it over, and reset, turn the page, turn the channel.
Dude, that's the key, man. Because, dude, I remember vividly being in my active addiction, and this is pre-awareness of anything.
Sure.
I'd be lost in that shit weeks. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, when I first got like sober and kind of started on this path, it sucked to drift back into autopilot and be like, damn, I was just like lost for like 2 hours, not present, right? But I noticed it in 2 hours, and then it was like, bruh, you just grasped this concept like a month ago, like, you are habitually trained in drifting the fuck off. And man, I used to be lost. Like, I mean, a thought get in my head, my girlfriend, didn't even do anything to deserve it, but I'm just like, oh man, what if she's playing me, right? And just that thought fester and run scenarios in my head and go absolutely crazy. My heart beat, my mind go crazy, my anxiousness kick in. Of course, I'm relieving that with my medications, and I mean, 100% droned way out. No moments of this isn't real. You know what I mean? Whatever voice was in my head talking was the truth. But at least nowadays, I mean, I drift in autopilot sometimes, not a toxic autopilot like it used to be. I can kind of catch myself pretty good when I drift into like any type of negative thought, but it still happens. I really thought it was going to turn into some ever-present state where I'm just serene and present every moment of every day. Like, nah. It's just the practice of bringing it back.
Gotcha. I'm sitting here thinking about the steps, and I'm tying this conversation back into my understanding of the steps at this point. And unrealistic fantasy expectations could almost be considered a shortcoming, I think. Like, the fact of the matter is that the defect of character that I have is, being someone that's dishonest and manipulative, right? So if I'm that guy with those defects, the shortcomings that the act out that occurs because of those defects, is in some senses, or at times, unrealistic expectations on myself and on other people, you know, maybe, because if I think about it that way, it's a lot easier for me, you know, when going through the steps, to be able to ask for these things specifically to be removed. You know, the more specific that I can get with a sponsor and people in my recovery network about the roots, the grassroots issues that make me who I am, you know, the better luck that I have with communicating that to myself, another human being, and God, and asking for it to be removed, you know, specifically. And the better luck I've had with having it removed at this point, you know. And I'm grateful for that kind of awareness, and also, you know, the steps. It's a life guide, man. It's a life guide, and it's more about how, for me, it is more about living the steps than anything else at this point, and seeing them at work in my life, and you know, not just lip service, actual tangible proof that these 12 steps do in fact show me how to live, you know. Whereas before, without the steps in action in my life, I was lost. I had no guide. I had no. I was raised well. I was educated, but I'll be damned if I had any idea how to live, you know, successful. And major symptom of that was excessive drug use for a long time, because I couldn't figure out what the hell I was here for, you know. So I sure am thankful for, and this is not these realizations, awakenings, whatever you want to call them. They didn't just happen, you know. They've occurred because I chose a new way to live. And I wanted that new way to live. And even though I was still living in an old, shitty way that was killing me, you know, I surrounded myself with people that were living that new way, you know, and I learned, and I continue to learn, and I will always continue to learn as long as I'm surrounding myself with the right people. Drug users, drug addicts, you know, shitty people teach us how to live shitty. Good people teach us how to live the right way. I mean, you know, I'm just super grateful to be in association with the people I'm in association with these days to help me figure this shit out called life, you know?
I like how you guys, I didn't even think of this, but how you guys said being aware of just like the expectations, the thoughts. Because like awareness for me, I always just tied it to kind of like the train wreck thoughts, like just random thoughts that popped up. And I never really like thought about it with expectations, but it's like awareness almost goes with everything in recovery. And like for my expectation, it's crazy because I can't even remember when I became more aware, I guess, if that makes sense. Like I know I started going to the meetings with you guys and like taking suggestions and expressing where I was at, and like just the input you guys would give me, and things like you are not your thoughts, and things like it's okay to have a shitty day. Like slowly but surely I stopped, I guess, living my thoughts, like, and more watching them or observing them. And that's when it changed for me. Like every shitty thought I have now, for the most part, there's still some that kind of take control, but for the most part, I have a shitty thought and I'm able to almost look at it and just, I don't know, it's a weird feeling. Like before I would have shitty thoughts and it was like, oh my God, I gotta do something about this. I gotta fix this or act on this. It was like fight or flight instantly. And now I get the same thing with thoughts, expectations, everything like that could be perceived as negative, I guess. But instead of like when I get that fight or flight response, instead of acting on it, it's almost like I'm able to pause myself and really like process it. And that's what changed for me with with expectations, thoughts, and like that negative just roller coaster that your mind can go on, is like just looking at it and not living in it, I guess, is how I would explain how I feel about it.
No
But
doubt.
yeah, yeah, it's crazy because I think about when I first got on the meetings, and dude, like I wish I could go back and listen to the stuff I shared, because I feel like I was a wreck, and I was 90 days clean when I started going to those meetings, and like my thoughts ran my life, like crazy thoughts. And yeah, I don't know, it's crazy to think back at that, where I was at. Like I feel like I was a wreck.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, thoughts are just not real. You know what I mean? And for me, it was like inviting these thoughts, inviting these feelings, because I gotta tell it, man. Bring it, bring that shit. Because if I resist it, you know, so many things are happening. I'm not accepting it. I'm wanting it to be somewhere else. You know, I want things to be different than the way they are. I'm a victim. I'm telling myself I can't handle it. I will not be happy until it's gone. There's just a multi-layered things that I don't even notice I'm doing. But when I say bring it, all right, thought, let's go. One, I'm telling it you can't hurt me. I'm accepting reality. I'm telling myself I can handle it and I got strength to fight it. I'm not resisting it. Let's go. You know what I mean? I'm not waiting for it to be gone. Just for me, it changes my whole energy. So with the thoughts, when my mind starts drifting, because like I don't really like when my mind just runs scenarios. Like when I broke up with my ex, it was like all this shit in my head. What's gonna happen with my daughter? You know, what's living apart from her gonna look like? What is my next girlfriend gonna be like? You know, blah 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 blah. And if I tried to resist it or shut it off or use some mindfulness trick to make it go away, that's another form of control. That's me not accepting it. That's me. How do I exert my will right now? Because this is not right. And I know what's right. And this is what needs to happen. So I got to find a way to balance it though. So I'm like, all right, bro, let's go. Like, you're just fantasizing right now. All these hypothetical conversations you're having in your head about what you're going to say to your ex when you see her, what your life's going to be like. Just why don't you just play around, fantasize, and then I stop resisting, and then I play a game. All right, well, what would I say? Oh, what would my girlfriend be like? She'd probably be Russian, you know what I mean, with a bomb ass recovery attitude. We're gonna make a podcast one day. You know what I mean? But I allow myself space to do what's really happening instead of pretending like I'm not just fantasizing right now. Because like I will feel it. I will feel the intensity of what I'm saying to her. I will feel the sting of the reaction of what I imagine she's gonna say back to me. I feel the loss of my daughter. She could be in the other fucking room. I'm just thinking of like 5 years from now. Like, oh, what is this gonna be like these 1,000 days I don't see her? Well, she's right there. Why are you feeling like you haven't seen her in 1,000 days? You know what I mean? So for me, it helps to allow myself to fantasize, but remember that I'm fantasizing. And it helps me to allow myself to have shitty thoughts, knowing that they're gonna come sometimes, you know, and they don't go right away, but they neutralize. And I know I've said this a million times, whether I don't know if it was in a pod or a meeting or whatever, but I can't express it enough. This all right, then let's go attitude. Relapse thoughts too, you know what I mean? Like, oh, craving, go away, I can't handle you, you're gonna make me relapse. Like, bring it, bitch. Let's go.
No doubt.
So
knuckle live life on life's terms, you know what I'm saying? even in the old noggin that's always kicked my ass for years. It's nice to win. It's nice to win. It's nice to be in a place of observation and not just automatic reaction, impulse reaction. You know, that's a gift. That is a gift, man. It is something that I never had, and it's straight up a gift. And yeah, it is a big reason as to why I am where I am at this point. Big reason, big part of it. Just more mental stability, more ability to know myself, more ability to play the tape through, understand what has happened in the past when this thing has happened before is not great. You know, it hasn't manifested itself well. Identification, go the opposite direction. Do something different. Definition of insanity, doing the same shit, expecting the same result. Or doing, that was totally wrong. Doing the same shit and expecting a different result. You know, like, that was the story of my life for a long ass time. Just doing the same shit and thinking something was going to be different. You got to change it up, man. I had to change it up. And lo and behold, things are different. You know, like, how about that? Make change, results are different. That's how this works, huh? Okay. How about that? So, I don't know, man. I'm just in my head about expectations because I know that I've had them at times in my life. And because of those expectations, I've completely gotten back into my own will, like I said, and that's, you know, it's nice to be liberated from that, man. It's nice to think about it in a different light. And I really appreciate you guys' experience on that front, because that's how we get better, man. One day at a time, we get experience from each other.
Oh yeah.
Keep it moving.
What's right in there in the middle of that whole insanity thing? Doing the same thing, expecting different results. That's the first problem right there.
There it is, bro. Good Lord.
Dude, like, yeah, dude, I believe that shit. Every night I'd be like, I'm not gonna use tomorrow. I'm serious. Today is the last day. I believed it with my whole core. You know what I mean? And damn, dude, it's just so good to be like, that's the shit I think about. Like, that's why I hope people grasp things in recovery, like steps, some type of newfound like awareness, something, because it gives you the gift of seeing another way, not just being drug free and still like blind by your human condition and your overall just conditioning of the way you think. They always say in AA, it's a thinking disease, not a drinking disease, you know? And that's so true because, dude, like when I got sober the first time, still identified with thoughts, still not present for 1 second, still opinionated, still attached to resentments and expectations. It was a miserable recovery. And when it came time to decide to go back to drugs or not, there was nothing on the positive side keeping me there. I was clean and I wasn't fiending every day for a substance. That's it. Nowadays, it's like, bro, you got a lot to give up. It's not just the fact of spending money or being like zoned out on the couch or you know, having to chase that substance. Those are all things that I don't want to go back to. But more so, I don't want to lose my awareness. I don't want to lose my patience. I don't want to lose my ability to like hold my tongue, but also have nuts to be like, nah, this doesn't work for me and we need to talk about it and stand firm. Just my way to process reality and say, what's really going on here? Oh, this, like, and dude, when I was using, I did not know what was what. Like I did, but I didn't. You could be like, your name isn't really Steven, and I'll question it. Seriously, like it was that bad. I've always been a really smart dude, but I lost so much of myself, and to the point where even at 2 years sober, I didn't have it. I couldn't trust. I didn't know what my gut felt like. I didn't have any I couldn't stand firm on a whole lot of stuff. And man, these days I know what's up. I don't need to tell you. I don't need you to confirm it. And I don't even need to really figure out specifically what exactly it is. I just know what's up.
Yep.
And that is a great feeling. And I know if I use again, I ain't gonna know shit. I'm gonna be lost 100% by my mind.
Yeah, we have plenty of case in point evidence that if we use again, we lose what we have. We see it all the time. You know, we've done it ourselves. We see it all the time in the rooms of recovery. You know, it's like it is very clear to me at this point that this is a daily reprieve. This is not. I'm going to fix my disease, get better, get all nice and well, walk out the door, do whatever I want. This is a daily reprieve. But you know what the beauty of it is? The beauty of it is this daily reprieve has opened the door to the people that I care about the most. It has created a better feeling inside of me. It has gotten my life back on track. You know what I'm saying? Like, it trips me out sometimes because when I'm talking to somebody that's not, I guess, as what we would call a normie, a normal individual that doesn't deal with the disease of addiction, sometimes it's like, just hang in there, man. Just keep strong, you know, keep hanging on there. You can do it. And I'm sitting here going, man, it doesn't hurt anymore. You know, like the pain is no longer there. I have surrendered, man. I'm doing things I need to do and I'm enjoying it because it's a new way to live. And that's so hard for somebody to come to grasp with. That's not in a recovery, in a 12-step program or in any kind of recovery activities whatsoever. And guess what? They don't need to understand it. That's not a problem. You know, they don't suffer from the same shit we do. So, you know, good on them. I don't hold a resentment against them for not understanding that stuff or being able to relate to, you know, the fact that the bat is on the ground. I'm no longer kicking my own ass every single day because of what I used to do on a daily basis. You know, no more beating myself up, man. It is working. Program works, and it's no longer a struggle. It feels awesome. A lot of people can't figure that out. I'm grateful that I got a seat at the table of people that got that shit figured out now. And I don't want to give that up. You know, that's more important to me these days. That being at the table these days is more important to me than using and going and fucking that up. You know, keep it simple. Keep it real simple. You know, don't let my head get all twisted up in a damn knot when I'm trying to overanalyze shit, formulate expectations, do all these things to push my own will. Just keep it simple and chill and enjoy life. Enjoy the fact that I don't have to chase a substance all the time or chase, you know, act out on all these defects that have ruined my happiness for a long time without me even knowing it. Like, without even being aware of them, you know? Recovery is awesome. All I know. And, you know, it doesn't mean everything gets better. Like, obviously, we still have to deal with the trials of life. Not all roses and rainbows, but we sure do know how to deal with thunderstorm better on a daily basis. Eric, you mighty quiet, bro. What you think?
Yeah, my mind's kind of just going all over the place, but yeah, it's true. Like, we do learn how to deal with like all the madness and crap in life through, I guess, working these steps or spiritual practices. Because like, I don't know, for me, the expectations I set on life were crazy, even before addiction. But particularly in addiction, it was like I would go to sleep with kind of how Steven said it was like, I'm going to wake up, I'm never going to use again, and I'm going to get my shit together. And then I'd wake up and I like, here's this like small example, I guess, stub my toe on the frame of the bed, and my mind would immediately go, oh, you stubbed your toe. Today's fucked up. You got to get high for this. And like, so that it would just, I would like crazy expectations where if something small, like super trivial happened that I viewed as like a bad thing, it's like that was my excuse to use. And it could be like an argument with a family member, stub my toe, drop a cup of water and spill it on the floor. And it was like every little stupid thing became an excuse to use because I set that expectation, knowing that those things happen. Like, and I don't know, like, you do learn how to deal with things. And the reason I say that is like when I got clean and even today, like there's a lot of stuff in my life that isn't the way I would want it to be, particularly like my brother and like even my ex-wife, just knowing she's still in active addiction and that she's struggling, like those are things that I wish would be different. But through the people in our meeting and just practicing recovery, like I've learned to accept that that's where they are in life. And like I don't know, it's kind of like that's where they are, and maybe that's where they need to be right now. And there's really nothing I can do to fix it. And that's how I learned to deal with things. And like even with like death of loved ones, it's like maybe that's like how it's supposed to be for them. Maybe that's what it should have been. Like that's their path. And just kind of having that attitude towards things has helped me so much because I don't know, I always thought I could control the outcome. Like I always thought I was strong enough or powerful enough to like change something I didn't like, especially with other people that I loved. And like I was let down every single time. And I realized like, I don't know, it's with people in particular and things that they're struggling with, I can offer them like positive influence. I can be there for them as much as possible without losing my mind, but anything outside of that, and it's really on them. And yeah, that's what's given me so much peace because my expectation with my ex-wife it's ruled the last like 7 years of my life. I've had that expectation. I've been let down multiple times. And the minute I realized like she's on her path, I'm on my path, just because I love her doesn't mean we're going to end up on the same path. And that really helped me kind of detach from thinking I could fix her. And I learned that on like on these meetings, talking to the guys on these meetings and just practicing awareness and really observing my thoughts about situations like that is how I've kind of come to a peaceful place with it.
Oh yeah, man. No, so I don't know how much time we got left. But I like to point out these little paradoxes in recovery, and you just made me think of another one. How like we kick our own asses. Can you mute for a sec? My bad. I'm hearing my echo. It's throwing me off, you know. I hear the sound of my own voice and I'm like, oof, who's that guy? No, so like we make these mistakes, right? And we kick our ass hard for them. Yet we also have like really low self-worth sometimes. You know, we just think so little of ourselves. Yet we have the highest expectations of ourselves because we also think we are so perfect. And it's just insane how many different opposite things can happen at once. So like I'll try to make this quick, but I want to really expand on this one day. I've talked about the need to be right, and I've heard about it a lot back in the day. And I always related it to arguments and shit. Like, oh, well, if I'm going to argue with you about politics or whatever, I don't need to be right at the point of causing inner turmoil for either of us or causing a rift, right? And that's kind of where it stopped for me. And we're reading this book called The Toltec Secret to Happiness by this dude, Ray Dodd. And this book is fire. I mean, it is like a lot of four agreements concepts, but man, he just takes every subject and just threads it way out. So they're talking about the need to be right, and just how it applies to everything, religion or our own self-worth. Like, because I need to be this way before I can accept myself. I need to be this image of perfection. I can't make these mistakes. I judge myself so hard because I don't accept myself if I am not holding up to this standard of myself. And it all stems from a need to be right. I need to know what I am, and it needs to be what I think it needs to be. Otherwise, it's not good enough. You know what I mean? Like, so making mistakes is something I have the humility to do today. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't back then. I either wouldn't admit it to you, I wouldn't admit it to myself, or it's like, oh, well, fuck, I made a mistake. I'm the worst person alive. And that's just another extreme. And then I have to like apologize to myself and be like, nah, I'm actually not the worst person alive. Well, that must mean I have no problems at all. I'm fucking perfect. You know, so meeting in that middle, man, I'm human. Yeah, I made a mistake. It's not the end of the world today. It stung a lot more in the beginning. You know, I like feel like stupid or, you know, a failure or whatever. Now it's just like, well, that sucks. I guess I'll learn and maybe not, you know, make a mistake next time. But yeah, I just kind of want to throw that out there because thinking about that mistake part, and I'm like, I know all three of us can highly relate to holding ourselves to unreasonably high, unrealistic standards. And it's just not fair. And I don't hold either of you to the standard you hold yourself at. And neither of you hold me to the standard I hold myself at, even today. My standard is probably higher than it needs to be for myself. But it's definitely not as unrealistic as it used to be.
Perfectionism's a symptom, that's for sure, you know, and of my disease. There's no question about that. And that's awesome. The need to be right. That's not something that I've ever thought about. And while you were talking about it, what came into my head was just how that need to be right also feeds into the ego. You know, that could even go even further. We could go even further down the rabbit hole with that, as to how it feeds into the ego. And you know, I'm always right. I always got the best plan of attack, all that kind of stuff. That's just like spoon feeding my ego, the ego. You know, just feeding it, living within it, as opposed to trying to step out of that shit, humble myself. You know, get myself to a balanced middle ground, as opposed to that extreme state of being where there's absolutely no awareness whatsoever at all. You know, for me. Yeah, damn, I hear it for sure.
Erik, I take by your still muted mic, you have nothing on this. So I'm wondering if you'd like to tell us how many daily reprieves you've had and what that's been like for you.
How many daily reprieves I've had?
Yes.
In a row.
How long you been clean, sir?
365, baby.
Hey.
Old damn year.
Oh, I really want to exercise my need to be right, but I don't want to be a dick.
Do it.
All right, you got 366 because last year was a leap year.
Oh my god.
Oh, I was wondering about that. I was like, do I gotta change my clean date? I actually thought about that.
No, I only thought about it because I was trying to bump you up to my clean date to be like, well, technically you were at 365 yesterday, so we kind of celebrated on the same day. I just try to be closer to you, bro. That's it. It's my own ego.
Hell yeah.
How was it like
I
for you,
do.
man? Like, dude, you have had
How'd
an
you do it?
amazing growth journey, dude. And like, just not that you were some hot mess when you came around. Oh, we all are.
Hell
But
yeah.
dude, just you have I don't know. I feel like you have really come out of a shell, man, and getting to know you over this last like 9 months has been incredible. And just to see the honesty, the integrity, the lights come on, um, the way you've just reached out and shown your growth, man, it is really awesome, dude. And I know for a fact that so many people in this Big Rapids community really like care about you, man. Like, I don't know how many you haven't missed many meetings, but I know the one or two you have that I was at. It's like, where's Erik? You know what I mean? And then when you show up, it's like, Utah. But man, if you want to share a little bit about where you're at today, man, and what's working for you, that'd be awesome.
How'd you do it, brah?
How did I do it? Well, yeah, I gotta thank Stephen and Anna. Stephen, I appreciate you so much. Like, I literally did it because when I reached out to you, you were just welcoming and it made me feel safe. Like, I've been to meetings locally and I don't know, I never felt safe. Like, there were some I went to, I tried going to every Sunday. There's like a 10 a.m. one. And like I got to know the people there pretty well, but over time going to those meetings, there were things that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Like, I'll just share this. A guy who had 10 years had relapsed and went in there, just tears pouring out of his eyes. And some of the people that I started looking up to in that meeting kind of rolled their eyes when he said he had relapsed. And it made me feel like those people don't care. Like, I don't, looking back at it, I feel like it was just different back then, the way they viewed things like that. But so that kind of made me leave 12-step meetings for a long time. And when I got invited to the meetings out in Michigan, like, everybody was so welcoming. People were super loving, and like over time it made me feel comfortable and safe enough to start sharing just kind of where I was at and things that were going on in my life. And the more I did, and the more I saw the way everyone would respond to it, it just like, I don't know, they like that saying, find your people. Like, I truly feel like you guys are my people. And that's what changed for me in the beginning, was having people I could just share freely with and not worry about anything. And yeah, all the people on that meeting are amazing. Like, I won't say any names, but there's a particular woman that I believe to be an angel walking on this planet, and a guy that is just a badass that I look up to a lot. And everybody on there is just freaking awesome. So that is literally what changed for me. Like, if it wasn't for all the people and the support and just the pure love, it's like, people tell you they love you, and I don't know, sometimes it doesn't feel like it. And with that group, it feels like it. Like, they don't even have to say that they love you, and you feel love on that group. And that's what changed. Like, it made me feel like I was worth something. And for the longest time, I hated myself. And you guys were the ones that taught me that I should love myself by showing me love. And if it wasn't for that, I don't think I'd be clean. I might not even be alive, honestly, because at 90 days clean, I felt like I was in a worse space than I was when I was using. Like, it was just horrible. And like, yeah, that's what changed. And then talking to you guys about spirituality, awareness, thought identification, all those things, like all the spiritual guru things that are being taught, are really what helped me the most is I started looking into like Eckhart Tolle, Joe Dispenza, just a bunch of those guys in that realm, and all their teachings I started picking up and trying to apply to my life. And that's what changed everything. It was realizing that my thoughts, like as crazy as my thoughts are, there's nothing factual about them. And I always have to check myself with that every day, like multiple times a day. I get these thoughts, and I just have to look at what's really happening and what's happening in my head. Because what's happening in my head is just, it's craziness. It's either future or past, and it has nothing to do with what's going on right now. And yeah, you guys taught me how to put myself back in the now when I get too far ahead or too far backwards. And yeah, I appreciate you, Stephen, so much, and everybody on the Michigan group. And Wes, like, yeah, if it wasn't for you guys, none of this would have been possible. And like, I owe you guys my life, literally. And that's what I did, and that's where I'm at today. Like, yeah.
Hell yeah. I don't need your life, bro, but I just want unlimited podcast features for free.
We
You
do
got it.
recover. We do recover.
Nah, for real though, like not to just keep it going, but like, man, when you first reached out, both of you guys, I hesitated inviting you. And Wes, I don't know why I did with you, because I've already like experienced Erik coming and being like, dude, I'm so fucking glad he came. With you, it wasn't like I didn't want to invite you, but I didn't go out of my way to. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, well, I've only really talked to one guy on the podcast, and he started coming to our Zoom meeting and just left it there. And you're like, well, I'd like that code sometime. I'm like, sure, man, here you go. And I don't get me wrong, I probably would have. But with Erik, man, like I don't know this guy. And I'm sitting there like I'm like texting back and forth with him and just like, oh, you going to meetings, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, nah, man, I'm like working at the hospital. So I'm like also texting in. I'm like, is it weird if I invite him to the Zoom meeting? Like, I thought I might be crossing like a boundary with you. Like, is this just too forward? Is this creepy and or whatever? Because I'm just a regular dude. Like, I'm just like, oh, here's the podcast. Cool, man, whatever. And she's like, I don't know. And then she's like, I mean, go ahead. And I'm just like, what if he's fucking weird, man? Like, you know what I mean? We have some weird people come on the meetings sometimes. But then it's like, dude, I was talking to her about it the other night, because literally, like, you have no idea how many times you'd be sharing. And just when you first started kind of sharing that, like, oh, this meeting spoke to me, or meeting you people, like, whatever, I'd just be looking at the phone like, my guy, you know what I mean? Like, just so it's never felt like an ego thing to me. It's the spirit of recovery. It's like, dude, you reaching out, us having something to offering, because that's what you do to somebody in need, even if they are a weirdo. You know what I mean? And just the whole essence of it has been truly inspiring to just be like, dude, this is what it's about, man. And yeah, I just really hope, I know people will do that for me, even when I was out fucking up, people just being there for you, guiding you. I try to keep it in mind all the time when people are just not at their best, just being like, oh, that's the nature of the game, man. Like, we keep coming no matter what. And hopefully one day they get it. But yeah, man, I'm really proud of you, bro. I'm really glad to know both of you, like, for real. I literally won't shut up about it. I'm just like, these two dudes could not have been like any cooler. And yeah, it's just amazing. All right, I'm done.
No doubt, bro. All we need is love. I tell you, that's the deal. Like, for me, I'm grateful to be in you guys' acquaintance, be in your association, and be able to explore a realm that I've never explored before. And also to be, in a place where I'm comfortable to do it. It's just we have great conversation, And it's not, it's not talking to hear ourselves talk. It's talking to help one another, to help each other out, and the fact that, I'm where I am in my recovery, and you guys are where you are in your recovery. And at the same time, you have a welcoming approach to, building a bond with me and giving me the opportunity to feel like I'm helping somebody else. You know what I'm saying? That's a big deal to me, dude. For a long time, I didn't, I was dishonest in the fellowship, like I've talked about before. And I never really felt like I was connected. And I had, now with that said, man, I've got some guys that have been ride or die with me, that are clean, living a serene life. And I still love them all very much, man. And I'm so grateful for those guys, because they're the ones that planted the seed, and they're still right there with me, and they're helping me grow the plant, just like you guys are. And man, I couldn't do it without anybody in my network. The folks that I'm closest to, I owe my life to, and I, Zoom, I was just thinking about this a little while ago. Like, I'd probably be dead if it were not for Zoom. I'd probably be dead. And, man, that, this is such an amazing tool. Like, let's just real talk. I'd probably be dead. You guys probably wouldn't know each other. You know what I'm saying? This thing has opened up so many avenues for us people in recovery to continue to recover, and it always trips me out, because there's a ton of people, and I know you guys have run into them as well, that are in the rooms, and you just, before all the meetings went virtual from being in person, you saw them at meetings, every single day of the week. They're going to meetings and whatnot, and then I see them, halfway through the pandemic, finally pop into a Zoom meeting talking about, well, this Zoom platform just doesn't really do it for me, and all this disease making excuse bullshit, and
how often I hear that shit? I don't like the Zoom meetings. How many you went to? Well, I haven't gone to one.
It blows my mind. Like, exactly. And it's sad to me, because I do care about other people. I mean, in the end, I'm here for me, man. I'm at this table to get better for me. You know what I'm saying? But in a beautiful byproduct of that is I start caring about other people too. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty cool. That's definitely something different. And so when I hear people say that shit that I care about, I'm just like, man, it's such a powerful tool. Like, I got a freaking meeting in Oregon that I go to 3 mornings a week that I love. I got people in there that care about me, that I care about, and it's love, dude. That's for an addict like me, and I'm just like everybody else. The disease for years took all the ability to love out of my gut, man. I mean, out of my soul. You know what I'm saying? It sucked me dry of real relationships, real ability to connect with other people, and to actually feel love. Love for my brother, love for another. Like, it's amazing to me at this point how the solution feels as opposed to the problem itself. How much better life is on this side of the fence, man. And one day at a time, we do the things we do to stay on this side of the fence, and to stay happy, and to stay in a place of serenity, with contact to a higher power, with people surrounded by friends that care, not people that are trying to suck you dry, right? I'm cool with it. I'm staying right here. This is where I want to be, like, I love it.
Yeah, we need people to survive, man. Like, without the fellowship, of NA without making connections in recovery, I don't have none of this shit. You know, if I got it all figured out, you know, day one, I'm in rehab. This dude's like, hey man, I got this book, you know, judging by the way you kind of conduct yourself, I think you might like to read it, right? I got this. You know what I mean? So there's no 4 agreements. I don't go to meetings. There's no A New Earth, because that's where I heard about that. There's no conversations about gratitude along the way. There's no recovery coach telling me, you know, do a gratitude list to fucking get involved, man. Come involve yourself. There's no buttering up and you know, like last night, man, people talking about all the shit that they appreciate me for. That shit used to fill my head up, I'm not gonna lie. And it's awesome to hear, but it's really cool because half the shit I'm like, oh, that's what you noticed? You know, like someone's like, oh, you're always available. I'm like, oh, I never really thought of it like that. You know what I mean? And I agree, but it's cool that you noticed that as a talking point, right? So it's cool to be reminded of the progress and how much you mean to people. It's cool to hear the fucking dude, like last night when we were reading the readings, like I was just intently listening to how it works, right? Yep. And that shit, like I have it memorized, but I was listening to you read that shit. And for some reason, it just hit like pretty profoundly. And I don't know, man, just without reinforcing all these things and it becoming second nature in my head, I don't have this. I might have sobriety. I doubt it, but I might. But I don't have this. I don't have freedom from my thoughts. I don't have anger management. I don't have appreciation for life. I don't have humility. I don't have acceptance. I don't have you guys. So I'm just chilling on my own with people like, you know, people I work with now are cool, but like when I worked at Walmart, that's the people I would have to associate with. The people who talk shit, the people who like point out every problem they have in their life, the people who just wake up with bad attitudes, like that's who I'm around. So, dude, I was king fucking walking on clouds at Walmart because I'm going to meetings 3 times a week. So they're like, oh, fuck, it's a Monday. I'm just like, fucking alive, bro. Like, hey, even one of my managers pulled me aside. He's like, I like this dude because he's a realist. Like, he'll tell you straight up, hey, I'm only one person and I'm going to do my best, but this is all I can do. And he's like, I just love that about you. Like, you just keep it real. But you really do try, you know, and that's, I don't know, man, just, I guess, not trying to butter my own cake here, but I'm just trying to say, like, this is the shit that I have because of recovery, because listening to people, because of taking suggestions. Oh, hey, yo, this book might help me out. Well, sure, let me give it a shot. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not above getting help, even still. I'm always looking for new ways to help myself or do my job better or shit, man. Like I have a grip on anger these days. I still want to learn how to get better. Like if there's progress to be made, and I don't need it. I don't need it to get better, to accept myself or to be at an acceptable place with myself. But I'm down to grow, you know?
I mean, it sounds like what you're describing there is basically how I feel. And that is after coming to a point of complete surrender, man, I'm all about the suggestions. Like, bring it, show me something that may improve my life. I am all about it. You know, like complete surrender was brought about by me going through life on my own will, destroying myself one day at a time. Okay. So now moving forward, one day at a time, I'm living in peace through other people's suggestions that do the same thing, you know? And man, I don't want to, you know, it's crazy to think about like people from the past, whatnot. Of course, that's getting out of the fucking present. So that's dangerous. But thinking about people from the past that I still I care about and whatnot. But the reality for me now these days is that, like, I don't want to associate with them. I don't want to associate with people that are stuck in the problem. Like I go to, I'm doing IOP three mornings a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings from 9 a.m. to 12. And I hate to say it, man, but there's people in that program that are so stuck in the problem. Like I don't see them getting well. I don't see them getting well. I see them completely absorbed by the disease. I see them glorifying the shit. And I mean, it's just sad to me, like at this point, because I now know that there's more to life than being stuck in the obsession of the disease of addiction and, having nothing more than that bullshit disease to glorify, like, holy shit, man, that's all these poor bastards know, like that's it. And I want, it's weird because I'm there for me 100%, but I do want to help. And my program teaches me that because I'm there for me, if I help other people, I get better. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those great recovery paradoxes: surrender to win, help someone else to help yourself, all those different things that are just so amazing once a state of enlightenment is reached through what the fuck ever however you get there, however anybody gets there, it's beautiful. I know I like using that word a lot, but I swear to God, it's beautiful. Everything's beautiful now, everything. Flowers, birds, rocks. I don't know where the hell I picked that up, but
a couple months ago, you ever think you'd be sitting in a Zoom room talking about how beautiful flowers are, bro?
No. Absolutely not. Oh man, I love it. I love it, man.
Eric, my man, you need to take us out, my man. I gotta pee like crazy.
I'm with it.
I'm
30 minutes late to a meeting.
Yeah. I know you got something profane, man, or profound. I keep saying profane. It's probably profane too. But you're like the Silent Bob of the pod, man. You come up, I don't know if y'all know who Silent Bob is. This motherfucker just show up with the potent shit. You know what I'm saying? Like when you
that
talk,
mic drop shit.
Probably giving it pressure. Nah, man. Hey, if you got anything for us, man.
In closing, I don't know. Yeah, I believe the same thing Wes is saying is like this shit is powerful. And yeah, it's funny you said you ever think you'd be in a Zoom talking about flowers, but yeah, I'm right there with you guys. Like everything is just so different and beautiful, and it's I don't know, it's hard to explain. But yeah, sorry I didn't have any Silent Bob shit tonight. But that's all I got.
I knew I was gonna put too much pressure on it. Like, hey, fuck, man, what?
That sounds like 365 days worth of Silent Bob shit right there, bro. Hey,
no, man, you're always good, bro. So proud of you. I don't know what we're gonna call it, but there's definitely gonna be flowers in the thumbnail. That's all I know.
I love you guys.
All right, man. Be good. Love you guys. Be good. Thank you.
Till next time.
Love
awesome
you guys.
As always.
Have a good night.
All right, Eric.
Thank you.